your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Strictly Browns, a subdivision of the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, underneath the umbrella of the New American Media. Thank you for joining me today. This is a great day. It's a great day because the Cleveland Browns have broken out of a funk and won their first game of the season, 35-30, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bravo. Congratulations, men. Well done. I had a message from a friend yesterday and said, if the Browns lose this game, I can't. All the politics, all the other stuff, I'm trying to be a fan. If this team with this talent can't beat the Bengals and goes 0-2, I'm done. I can't allow this team to make me this sad, upset, frustrated, annoyed, angry, depressed. You know, it's a mix. It's a mix of emotions. Luckily, we don't have to talk about that. What we're talking about is a young team getting better. Oh my gosh, are they stacked with talent? We've known this, which is part of the reason why it was so frustrating last year to go, 6-10? This is not a 6-10 roster. It feels like there's a cohesive game plan now. It feels like there's a vision. So I want to walk you through what happened in the game. But first, I want to do something. Obviously, this is a show called Strictly Browns. We're supposed to only talk about the Cleveland Browns. However, there's some breaking news. This is good stuff. We all know the Big Ten came back. So if you're here watching a show about the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, my hunch is you care a little bit about Ohio football. The Ohio State Buckeyes are coming back, as you know. President Trump worked with Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren to offer more testing. And like he said in an interview, he said, I think what the Big Ten was lacking was some confidence. You know, and with all these other, look, sports are back. Things are back. Luckily, what we've been through since March is not what we feared it could be. It is something, and we should be careful, but look, this mainly affects the elderly. This mainly affects people with diabetes. This mainly affects the obese. It mainly affects. So if you're in a high-risk group, you need to quarantine you. You can't just shut the world down and expect everyone else to pay your bills. It just doesn't work. So kudos, congratulations to Kevin Warren and the Big Ten commissioners and all the people, the Big Ten presidents, all of the people of the schools in the Big Ten who got together with their chancellors, with their deans, it was a big collaborative effort. Congratulations to Kevin Warren for making a course correction. They made the mistake of canceling the season, and then they made a good decision in restoring the season. That has to be commended. We all have to be willing to acknowledge when we make a mistake and how to fix it. Look, the Browns last year were a walking mistake. So there's a lot to prove from Odell Beckham Jr., from Jarvis Landry, from Nick Chubb, from Baker Mayfield. But on the Ohio State Buckeye front, I just want to tell you this. Shaun Wade, defensive back, he is back. He's returning to play for the Buckeyes. He had initially opted out. He was the projected number 7 prospect in the nation by ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. And also offensive lineman Wyatt Davis is coming back too. Both of them said that they were going to leave and go to the NFL. Like, that's what I was saying from the beginning. You're not going to have spring football. You're not going to have it was going to be winter football in January, February. That's the time big time prospects are getting ready for the draft, for the combine. There's going to be no season. There'd be no season. And then I was really annoyed that all of these decisions messed with the season, so the Buckeyes lost some of their best players. Well, they're both back. So I'm really happy about that. Wade was ejected on a controversial targeting call in last season's playoff semifinal against Clemson. He said that ejection and the outcome of that game factored into his decision to come back. He said, I can't go out like that on that last targeting play. I got to come back and do great things for Buckeye Nation and just for my teammates. So I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait. So I'm excited for that. Anyway, let's get to the game. I'm going to break it down as quick as I can with some of the highlights and some of the things, my key takeaways. And actually, this would be a good... trying to think. No, this is fine. Okay, the Browns kick return. I'm sorry, the kickoff, rather. The Browns kickoff coverage needs improvement. Brandon Wilson, eh, way too good of a kick return to start the game. Got him out at the 40-yard line. Then had another kick go to the 45. You can't do that. You're setting your defense up for pain. You got to clean that up. You have to fix that. Please, Stefanski, please work on that. The kick coverage needs improvement. All right, so it's obvious Joe Burrow is a player. He's an NFL player. Not, college players don't always translate to the pros. This guy does. You can see it. Just like we saw with Baker in his first season. Obviously a regression last year, but there was a lot of reasons for failure last year. For leadership, offensive line problems. And frankly, I don't think Baker was, I don't think he was in the right spot. We'll just leave it at that. But it's obvious Joe Burrow is an NFL quarterback that can succeed, and he can make plays with his legs out on an NFL level. Once again, not everybody can incorporate what they used to do in college into the pros. You could see it. He had good mobility. He had good vision. He just, you either have a feel of the pocket or you don't. Joe Burrow has it. Kudos to Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson came up with, he was very disruptive to start the game. Very disruptive. Good stops. Nice sack. Really a weird angled, spinning, twisting, tossing sack. I love seeing the dreadlocks flowing out of the hair and making plays. It's just nice. It's nice to see action. I guess the dreads add more action and movement. It's just, you like seeing disruptive defensive linemen. Sheldon Richardson is that. Good on him. Let's see more of that throughout the season. The Bengals had some good fourth down plays on the initial drive and throughout the game. It's something I kind of keep coming back to. Man, it was just, third down and fourth down. The Bengals had a lot of drive extending plays. That starts and ends with your quarterback. Obviously, play calling and execution and your skilled position players are going to play a role, but I'm curious to see if that's going to be a trend for the rest of the season out of Burrow and the Bengals. Long drives. And it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing to a defense when you play well and you get to your third down, you're in a good spot, and crap, another first down. Crap, another first down. And then when it goes fourth down and they keep converting, that's demoralizing. Now, okay, if you have a dollar bill, maybe the demoralizing is a penny. Maybe it's 2 pennies. Maybe it's 3 pennies. But over the course of a game, now you got 10 cents, you got 15 cents, you got 20, 30 cents. The change is starting to add up, and that's 30% of the game, and it's the morale. This game is about head and heart. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But the Browns did a good job again. Good stop by the defense holding the Bengals to a field goal. On my high school team, I think we had the best defense in school history. We had 2 undefeated teams my senior year when I played in high school in Ohio. And we gave up some yards. We definitely gave up some yards, but we would bend and not break, and that's what a good team is going to do. So the Browns gave up some yards and they held them to a field goal. We've seen this out of the Browns for how many years now? You don't win games with field goals, period. And I saw a post-game interview with Kevin Stefanski, and he was talking about that. He's like, about being aggressive and going for it on fourth down. That drive when we were inside the 5-yard line and couldn't punch it in. And he said, we're going to be aggressive. Keep the pressure on them, not us. Keep the pressure on them. Force them to stop us. Maybe they will. In that circumstance, if you turn the ball over, it's at the 1-yard line. We'll get to that in a minute, but I like Kevin Stefanski mentioning and reiterating, we're going to be aggressive. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. I think it was the Lisa Becomes a Vegetarian episode. But you don't win football games with field goals. You don't win games with field goals. You don't win games with field goals. You just don't. So when the Browns are holding the field goals and going in for some touchdowns, once again, a couple of pennies over the course of the game, it starts to tilt the lever. Trying to level that up. It tilts the scales a little bit. Just keep adding a little bit of weight, and it's going to get you the win. over the course of a game. It'll play out. Baker showed some good wheels, some nice play action plays. I like the play action. Me and my buddy Mike, growing up, we used to, he lived across the street from me, and he would come over. We had a nice, deep rectangle of a yard. We had like grapevines on one side, we had trees on another, and then the woods out and back. And it was perfect to play football, to play baseball. It was just a great backyard. I've been looking to recreate that every place I've lived. Not this place yet, but maybe the next one. But we would draw plays. We were big into drawing plays up, and we had, I think we called them Kansas Cities for some reason. Maybe it was who we were watching at the time. But it had two running backs, and it had the quarterback up top, and it involved one running back coming in a cross route while the other running back held, and then once he went through, the other running back would come up and take the ball. So it was the quarterback spinning, faking a handoff, and then giving a handoff. So then you'd give it to the first running back, the fullback, then you'd fake it to, and then off of the fake, then the running back would go out and run a 5-yard curl. They'd run an out and out and up. So there were all these different variations of the same looking play. And we've heard Kevin Stefanski and the Browns talk about this a lot, that they're going to run plays that look similar, that feel similar. So the defense starts to see the same thing, and you can't help but think, as a defensive player, you get lulled into a false sense of security thinking you know what you're seeing. But you don't. So I saw good wheels on Baker, some play action plays. Some of them went short, some of them went mid-range, and then some of them went deep. They look a lot alike. And you obviously take what the defense is giving you. You can't force a deep play. You don't want to settle for a check down if there's something better available. And so that comes into your reads. You're looking deep first, you're checking down mid, and then you're dumping off quick. A lot of this is designed to get Baker moving around like he did in college, get outside the pocket. He's short. He's a short quarterback. He can sling it, but, he's looking over people that are taller, and you got to have the right throwing lanes, and passes are getting knocked down at the line. If you can roll them out, just buy a little bit of time and get a little bit more open field, you're going to see some plays getting made. I'm curious, is Kaderl Hodge our clear number 3? I didn't really see Rashard Higgins. Obviously Jarvis at the 2. And then our tight ends. Our tight ends are a whole different beast. And then our running backs are catching too. So, we got a lot of weapons. But Kaderl Hodge was making his presence known. A couple of catches. I was going to say, don't sleep on Nick Chubb as a pass catcher. I think it was against Cincinnati where he had that, was it a wheel route? He went down to the corner of the end zone last year and made that crazy catch behind the helmet of a defensive player. One of the coolest catches I've ever seen in history. Go watch that from, I believe it was last year, Nick Chubb, Bengals. Nick Chubb is good as a catcher. I'm going to get to our other running back catching the ball as well. Baker can make plays with his legs. He does have the leadership gene. You can just see it. Breaking up that skirmish with Landry. It's an intangible. It's an intangible thing. It's something you're not going to be able to figure out at the combine necessarily, but you see it play out in the games. He really does try to be a leader, and he does try to help his team and try to keep his head in the game. There's obviously been some maturity questions, and you'll get that with outspoken characters. And Baker likes to clown around, and he likes to have fun. And I feel like I'm seeing less of that this year. I've heard that phrase, all bite, no bark. Please, can we do that? I like that a lot. Nick Chubb has great vision. We've seen it his entire career. But, man, on his TD, just on his first rushing touchdown of the game, great vision, getting that ball in the end zone. Our offensive line played great, and I believe it was Chris Hubbard was filling in for Jack Conklin. So, I believe there are no sacks. 200 yards rushing the ball. You give your quarterback time, you have a chance to win. And so kudos to the Browns and Andrew Berry, new general manager, going out, signing Jack Conklin, keeping the depth of Chris Hubbard, drafting Jedrick Wills Jr., to shore up that left tackle position, a strong line is going to get you games. A strong running game, you can't have a strong running game without that line. There's a scenario where Chubb and Hunt could suck. That scenario is only if your offensive line is trash. Because these guys are good. Really good. Great vision on his touchdown. Nothing surprising. We've seen that before, but it bears repeating. We have a special running back. We actually have two special running backs. So the O-line played great. Yeah, and then Richardson, once again, just a nice sack late in the first quarter. Earlier I was referencing his good run stops. Early second quarter, that was the only time Burrow looked like a rookie to me on that timeout call. Turns around, calls a timeout, trying to get a timeout. That is going to get cleaned up in practice. I promise you. They're going to watch the film. He's going to learn. He's going to learn to call his timeout like this and keep the eyes on the ball. He's not going to be looking. That was a goof. That ball went sailing. He was looking the wrong way. That could have been a turnover. By the way, great hands. Great athleticism running back there and sliding on it and picking it up. No bobbling. Grabbed that ball, secured it. So he made a mistake, but then he corrected by making sure it didn't get any worse. I expect him to fix that. Obviously, great rollout and great pass to Odell Beckham Jr. A deep touchdown pass, about a 50-yarder. That was nice to see. What I didn't like was as he was rolling, pulls the ball up and holding it up. I'll get back to this later because I have a couple more points on this, but I don't like the ball security thing. I know Odell is big on the one-hand catches. I get it. But, bro, this is going to cost you. You secure that ball. It didn't hurt us today. But when we're in a playoff game against the Ravens or the Steelers, and it's wet and that ball's slippery, don't you dare turn a touchdown into a turnover. Don't you dare. So please, clean that up in the practice room as well. That needs to be coached. That needs to be reminded. He needs the reminder there. Baker had great protection. He eluded the pass rush well. He found open throwing lanes and his open targets. Getting him outside the pockets was nice. He did have that one intentional grounding call. It was a little meh. I don't know if I would have called it. I guess there wasn't anybody in the area, but he was outside the tackle, but someone should have been. I don't know. But I like moving Baker around. That's what he does. It puts him in the best position to make good decisions. Yeah, the Nick Chubb Kareem combo. Pass. Kevin Mack. Mid 80s, late 80s. 86, 87, whatever year that actually was. Wow. When you have two running backs going over 100 yards, when you have two running backs putting in 4 touchdowns, wow. What do you do? And it's fresh legs. I know there's a tendency to kind of overwork running backs. Why? When your average is over 5.5 yards a carry, you're popping off those 12-yard runs, those 15-yard runs, 20-yard. That two-headed running machine is impressive. So what I want to make a two-headed beast, a Cerberus, two-headed dog. Oh, help me come up with this. Actually, I'm gonna text my buddy. I want this graphic. We should make a shirt. I'm gonna text him right now. Where's he at? Okay. Cerberus. Okay, I'll remind him about that later. I want a two-headed beast of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. The dog pound, baby. It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, Baker looks sharp, tossing lasers. And don't sleep on Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt catching. He caught a pass for a touchdown. Just another thing the defense has to worry about. While you're double teaming Beckham and Landry's coming across the middle, and you got your tight ends, Hooper, and when Njoku comes back, this is an impossible to defend team. This is the most stacked offense in the league. Dispute that. The Browns D gave up lots of drive extending first downs. It's a concern. A lot of yards were chewed up. But once again, held them to a field goal. Another time, bend and don't break. Hooper looks to be settling in, and that's good. He was a big offseason free agent acquisition. Spent a lot of money on him. Use him. In the third quarter, Beckham with an over-the-middle catch. He did it again across the middle when he was being tackled. That ball came out again. He's running, and that ball's getting away from you. Tuck that thing. Hold that. Trust me, opposing defenses are watching, and they're going to be making sure that they're going to go after that football every time Beckham gets it. So don't allow it. Tuck that thing. Please coach that up. This is going to be a problem if we don't fix it. Chubb again with another great run for a second touchdown, but it got reversed on review. It was a great run. That was a goal line stand. That was huge. Huge for the Bengals to keep us out of that end zone. Come on, Browns. Figure this out. Goal line stand, you shouldn't be held up like that. Punch it in. But wow, was it a huge momentum swing when Myles Garrett did that double move, that in and out, and popped the ball out. Wow. And then, of course, Chubb gets his second touchdown. Bravo. The Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, kudos, hats off, fought all game. Porter Gustin, he was in the middle of the mix. His name was getting called throughout the game. Porter Gustin wasn't really on my radar that much. He might be a player. I didn't even know Olivier Vernon was injured and was going to miss the game. Anyhow, Bengals fought all game. So that's something the Bengals can take away. Part of the frustration last week was that the Ravens game against the Browns against the Ravens, we weren't in the game. We weren't fighting. We weren't competing. We just got blown out. It stayed a blowout. It sucked. There was nothing to get excited about. If you're a Bengals fan, you were in this the whole game. Maybe to different degrees or more. But the Browns D held a lot of long drives to field goals, and that's how you put 5 cents, you put a nickel, you put a dime in. Over the game, it adds up. You got a dollar to spend in those big plays that when you can hold a team to a field goal attempt, it keeps sevens off the board. That's clutch. Baker's fourth quarter pick, he had good elusive footwork to avoid what could have been a sack or worse. But then it rushed the throw, it threw him off. His balance was... He rushed it, and it led to an interception. That interception, look, that drive could have essentially iced the game. Instead, let this Bengals team that never gave up keep their spirits up. You never want to do that. Great teams crush the spirits of their opponents. You crush the spirit of your opponent. That's what I want to see the Browns clean up. These are the ways you let defeat, you snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. How many times as Browns fans if you've been listening to me, I've said this for 9 years. I've been saying it ever since I heard the phrase. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Don't do that. We got to clean that up. You got to put your foot down and grind. Kill the heart. So the head goes, all right, we lost this one. Let's just stay healthy and get to next week. You don't want the head to say, no, we're in it, let's go. And then the heart, you level up. And don't do that. Don't do that. It's a video game. You crush. You stomp your opponent. Chubb is so good. Just another note watching him. He's so good. His 12th career 100-yard rushing game. There's going to be a lot of these. Hunt had 2 TDs, as I mentioned, 1 catching the ball and 1 running. Both quarterbacks have poise, and they both look like number 1 picks and Heisman winners. Baker obviously had a regression last year. We can blame it on a lot of things, but okay. Well, if you get, what's Tom Brady? He's got 20 seasons in the league. Let's say when you find your quarterback, you get 20 seasons out of him. I know that's asking a lot, but I do ask a lot. All right, you had one season that was a throwaway. You had one season you started off on the bench for some unknown reason. Hugh Jackson, huge mistake. Um, he had a pretty impressive first season. A lot of hope, a lot of optimism. Man, a lot of barking, not a lot of biting. That offensive line was trash, and our coaching schemes were all over the place, and it didn't work. Baker didn't look good in game one against the Ravens. Let's be honest, it didn't look good. But he looked good yesterday. He looked really good yesterday. So they both look like Heisman winners, Burrow and Baker, a lot like Bernie and Boomer with the Bengals and the Browns. There's a lot of B's in the football world in Ohio. They both have poise. They both look great. Yeah, Burrow, once again, a lot of fourth down conversions and a great onside recovery by Andy Janovich, who also was given some kudos by Coach Kevin Stefanski in the post-game interview, talking about how important it is to have someone like him setting the table and another blocker going in to open some holes for the running game and to keep your quarterback safe. So, hey, this is a good win. This is a good win. There is a lot to clean up. I referenced a lot of the things that jumped off the tape to me, but I'm curious. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Click subscribe. Tell your friends. Seriously, take 5 minutes. I would appreciate it. Invite them all. We've had our Facebook. Well, that's a whole other story I won't get into. But we're here on YouTube. When we get to 100 subscribers, we'll get our title back. Our main channel for The New American Media, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Please click subscribe there. We do put a lot of our full shows when they're national stories, but when it's strictly Browns, we'll put that exclusively on the Unhappy Hour YouTube channel. We're on Twitter at @TheUnhappyHour_, and then our main page with current events and a lot of politics is at American_Media_. Follow us. Tell your friends. Indians, Cavs, Browns, Buckeyes. That's what we do. That's what we love to follow. Any national sports stories, any funny stuff, share your memes. Sports is supposed to be fun. Sports is supposed to be uniting. All the teams, both teams were locked in arms yesterday for the national anthem. And okay, good. That's what that moment's supposed to be. Can we please keep it that way? So yeah, let's stay united. Let's try to keep our passion for the game, and let's please keep the things that divide us out. We'll leave it there. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Talk again soon. Take care. Peace.